Harness Players Podcast back on the In the Money Media Network. We're going to open the blinds a little bit here to start the show. Ray Cotolo in the host chair. Usual, but a little unusual as we're getting ready to talk about the Kentucky Futurity Day of Racing at the Red Mile for Sunday, October the 5th. Traditionally here on the In the Money Media Network, this day has been one of two usual live streams that we've done as a companion to the race card. We did one earlier this year for the Little Brown Jug, but given that I have other duties to do at the Red Mile, and at this point in time, it is impossible to be more than yourself, unless this AI stuff really takes off. At the same time, if I were to upload myself into an AI clone, I might be the first person capable of making it unalive itself. So there could be some incentive for me to explore that. And plus also too, I'm coming into this show with a recently stolen identity. So best of luck to whoever's trying to be me ahead of this weekend of racing at the Red Mile. Not just me as usual on this show. We have Mikee P here to talk about some of the Grand Circuit action, as well as Edison Hatter. 133rd renewal of the Futurity will wrap the Grand Circuit meet at the Red Mile. The debutante companion, the 60th renewal of the Kentucky Filly Futurity, comes 2 races prior on this 11-race card. But so many of harness racing's best also congregating at the Lexington Oval for this day. Most notably, debatably, Edison, we could say, is the 3rd race on this day, something we have not seen in harness racing in quite some time. It's essentially a match race between 2 horses that everyone
could be Joe Fresh.
Well, and Yankee B something, who was one of the greats at Oak Grove over the last 3 years. The 2 big mares are facing probably their biggest challenge yet.
You know, I texted you when we were chatting about this, when we established this was going to be a 3-horse race. It is kind of a shame that I think it's been a bit of both. You know, I always say in sports, especially start of football season, you got to play this fun game of like, if one team crushes another, is that team good? Was the other team bad? Is it a little bit of both? This feels like a little bit of both to get where we've gotten to, where Twinbee Joe Fresh has really gotten a lot better since that break. And Sylvia, still has been good, but maybe a step or 2 back. And all of that, I think, led to Twinbee Joe Fresh being just really, really good right now again. Like I said, there was a point in the season, like Hamiltonian Day is the example, when they matched up, and I think you got like 3-5 or 6-5 on them. Like there was a point when, as good as you're going to get when it comes to basically a match race when it comes to betting. But still, I'm sure the connections are happy, owners are happy.
And Twinbee Joe Fresh definitely had some snags just in form during the summer that they've likely remedied as the weather has gotten cooler. Should also note, like the Little Brown Jug show we did here on In the Money Media, our coverage of Red Mile Racing for this day, presented by none other than the U.S. Trotting Association. We thank them for helping us support and continue to show off this sport that, Mike, I mean, who else is doing this? Who else is showing it?
Nobody but us. I mean, at least not this level, anyway.
That's true. I mean, aside from those mares, Mike, how about some of the other behemoths competing on this card? Not most notably, I already used that for the mare pace, but sandwiched between the Futurities, pretty stacked division of the Tattersall's pace, where we have Blueprint facing some familiar faces, but I mean, we watched him on that jug show and on that jug day. It really seems like there could be more of an exhibition than a competition inside of that race.
Well, that was an exhibition on Jug Day, and I'm not sure. Some of the more notable challenges just didn't show up. I mean, Prince Hal Hanover. There are some horses that just don't like Delaware. He certainly did not like Delaware. Similar to Nijinsky last year, did not like Delaware. And Blueprint just dominated. I mean, he waltzed. There was really no chance of him losing that final. He dominated the entire, group that was at Delaware, but he's 9 for 9 this year. He has yet to lose. He almost lost in the Meadows. I thought he would lose there in that PSR Stakes final. He did not. He found a way to get it done, and this is a horse that just finds a way to keep winning. He was great last year also. He won 7 out of 10 there. He likes Lexington. He went 48 in a piece last year as a 2-year-old. Who's going to beat him here? I don't know. I keep trying to figure that out. I want to find something because he's 1-9 on the board. Can anyone beat him? I mean, maybe Swingtown, maybe Prince Hal if they show up on their day, but they're more small track type horses. Blueprint seems to, I think, be even a little better on the big track. So how are you going to beat him here? I don't think you can, and he's going to gut a lot of these multis.
And there's a pick 3 that he is in the middle of with the Filly Futurity to start and the Kentucky Futurity to wrap. Worth noting also Prince Hal Hanover in that Bluegrass win looked not necessarily like he was going really well, but the last eighth of a mile is probably the most impressive part of that effort. He just was able to hit another gear and actually just almost re-brake, quote unquote, for the flat viewers if they're watching this for whatever reason. And so maybe he might be able to mount formidable challenge. Let's remember Fallout 2 was a real stunner over this track as a 2-year-old last season. But, I think this division has also caught up to him. He was probably just a little precocious and able to put the pieces together sooner than these others. And now he's in the field instead of standing out above them. But that looks like it's going to be
just one win this year.
Yeah, one win. How about? Well, I'm going to save that for the Kentucky Futurity. That's a big talking point for that. But let's quickly talk over just some of these other races because again, 11 races total. We got 4 divisions of Alarage, each one for each sex and gait of horse. I feel like the open divisions, the mares are. They're also just continuously beating each other's heads in, week out. But the open trot, Mike, Periculum gets potentially back to his winning ways off of that dead heat win. He's looking to find the winner's circle by himself for the first time, that is, ever since Lexus Cody was hitting a whole new stride. And no Lexus Cody to deal with here.
No, big field, though, and you have horses that are sharp and horses that are capable of big efforts. And Periculum is always sort of at the mercy of the pace, and he needs things to go his way. Now, the Red Mile's a track that sets up well for him because you have the long stretch. He has that ability to produce that kick. But he's a little hit and miss, and he's going to be low on the board. I think other horses have chances in here. Like Atos Kronos is back in here coming off. He was sort of a dud at Yonkers there. But that recent race at Dayton was fantastic, and I do think that he has a shot despite the outside post. These are competitive horses. You mentioned that they like to take turns beating each other. And Periculum is, I do think, the favorite, but he's certainly no cinch.
And Edison in the pace, we only have 7 competing in that race that over the last few years has been more of a stallion-making race than a Grand Circuit race, so to speak. We remember a few years ago, Bulldog Hanover trying his hand at the world record, Allywag usurping him in the end and getting his own record of 146. But since he's a gelding, it didn't stymie any other stallion prospects on the record boards. But this race, it looks less like a speed test, and it's more just purely a class test. And there's been arguments made about who is the top horse in the older pacing division. Irvin Hanover's been making a pretty strong case of late, but he's not in this race. Instead, we have Captain Albano back on the big track off a runner-up finish to Irvin Hanover. Is this race possibly an opportunity for him to make his case for being division leader?
Yeah, it's odd. I'm just thinking in my head, and I want to actually, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at it, and I guess I might as well half read it out loud, but I'm thinking through my top 10 poll recently. I think this is the first week in a while, actually, that I've really had an older pacer in there, and it was Irvin Hanover who just sneaks in at number 10 after the win in Dayton. And beyond that, yeah, I don't have any other older pacers up there. Obviously, Blueprint's number 1, but, 3-year-old. Older pacers, including Toomey Joe Fresh and Sylvie Hanover, but in the male division, none besides Irvin Hanover. But yeah, Captain Albano is one who's trying to make a case for it, right? There's been a couple of good victories here along the way as of late. Obviously, the race on Sun Stakes Day at Pocono was noteworthy. The second New York was noteworthy, but again, behind Irvin Hanover, right? The victory on Yonkers International Trot Day, and second again to Irvin Hanover there at Dayton. So again, I think the one to beat in this group, but no Irvin Hanover in the field. So I'm not sure, even with a win grade, depending on how impressive it is, of course, how much he necessarily takes over Irvin Hanover division lead. But definitely is not as strong of a division as we've seen in years past, namely with no Bulldogs and Alleywags around.
There are definitely loads of opportunities to strike at some value on that undercard, but I do find it fitting that on this closing day of the Grand Circuit meet, probably the best betting races on the card are the main events. We're going to start with what comes first in race number 9, $300,000 the purse. Grade 1 race. These are sophomore trotting fillies, 11 total going in the 60th renewal of the Kentucky Filly Futurity. No morning lines available as they just drew this race this afternoon. You'll see driver doubles as well because of that. But again, this is also a division that we're really trying to figure out who are the main players. If you remember, a few months ago, a little miss by the name of Conversano was able to win in the Hambletonian Oaks, runner up to her, a long shot in Wallspia for Tron Smedshammer. They're not here. So, and Yotilli not here either, off of her first defeat of the year last week at the Red Mile to none other than Delaney Hanover as post 3. I should note, though, Yotilli not eligible to this race. I believe she had an opportunity to supplement, but they obviously chose not to into this. Nonetheless, Mike, again, another situation where this is a division left awry. They're looking for who is potentially the best of the best. Is the case maybe that Delaney Hanover might finally be able to put the pieces together because she was third in the Hambletonian Oaks?
Yeah, she's getting good at the right time, too. The problem is everyone's going to see that race last time, and the fact that she was able to beat Yotilli. She's going to take a ton of money in this race. She's going to be way over bet here, given her chances of winning. And I do think that you're going to have a little value on our Duchess, who was a nice winner there at the Elegant Image back on September the 20th, but got taken down in that race for interference. And so now you come back. I do think that she's also in very, very good form. And with the big track, I know the outside post, but over this track, I'm not sure that it's necessarily as big a disadvantage. I like her in here, and I like her. I think the chance of her being value over Delaney. Now, Delaney's in fine form here, but so is our Duchess. And I would think she's going to be 3 times the price, maybe even more, given that post draw. So I want our Duchess in here, and I do think that she has a chance to back up that Elegant Image. Hopefully she behaves, or maybe the driver behaves, and she's able to get it done.
Well, let's remember, Boutenshane was able to win in the Filly Futurity last year with Armelina, potentially in a similar style. Armelina was really able to muscle on the lead. Our Duchess showing, and our Duchess is showing a similar affinity for that style. I think we have a quick moment to kind of touch on that, Mike, because we were talking about it in our own group chats on Elegant Image Night. I really don't think you can put an asterisk on that victory by our Duchess, and it sounds like you're thinking the same thing. Like, yes, she was disqualified for interference, but I mean, you even go back and watch the inquiry, it's probably a 10-plus minute deliberation by the AGCO judges to try and figure out whether she's liable, and they ended up going with she was liable because she makes contact. But you go and watch that replay a bunch of times, you see Lasting Dream kind of comes in, so she's in just tight. It seems like one of those situations where it's just unfortunate that she broke the rules, less that, she advertently broke the rules.
Yeah, it was a judgment call too. It took a long time. It's for a big pot, and it wasn't a horse. I mean, really. I mean, it's not like that. And at that point in the race, it was very early on in the race. It didn't affect. It's not like she got out in the stretch and it was a nose or anything like that. When you see it DQ'd like that, this was very early in this race. Go back and watch the replay. There was a lot of deliberation in there. I do not fault her at all for the way that she raced in that spot. And, that more could have been driver error. It certainly wasn't a horse issue, though. That wasn't a problem with her whatsoever. And she dug in the stretch. I thought she was very game there. She's very good right now. And I like her price in here. I do think that she could get penalized on the tote board for that race there, that DQ maybe. And I do think that Delaney will certainly be way, way, way over bet. So there's just a lot to like for her in this race for me.
Well, and Delaney was also able to win off of the de facto passing lane that opened on Saturday afternoon at the Red Mile. If you go and look at the replays for that Saturday day, and I know this for a fact, 'cause I had to cover every single stakes race, the pylons open every time, and I believe at least 70% of the winners were because of that. And even otherwise, horses were closing down the center of the track, admittedly, but Delaney Hanover was able to take the shortest route to beat Yotilli, which I don't know if that's enough to make Edison hop off of her as the chalk wagon inside of this race. Because again, as I mentioned, she was third in the Hambletonian Oaks, so maybe she just got the win that she deserved, and it just so happened to be easy.
Yeah, I am deeply concerned that I have a Ray Cotolo-esque long shot pick in this race. So I'd like to know what your pick is first, and then I might change mine.
I mean, at this point in time, I feel like if you're looking for a quality horse who's going to be an okay price, I'm in agreement with Mike here that our Duchess is probably that contender. I was a little annoyed that Cadena won last week, and she won by that easy type of trip, just zipping up the pylons. But back in the Del Miller, I thought that she may have had a little something under the hood, and I kind of like her as a little bit of a long shot in this race because she's just always performed well over this track. So I don't think you're on either of those.
I'm hearing the words that I like to hear. Who do you least like in this race? Who's least likely to win this race, Ray?
I mean, Miss Belmar for one. I think I drunk too much of the soup off of that Oaks elimination win when she almost broke stride and kept herself together in the Oaks final. I definitely felt a little swindled off of that performance and have reevaluated her ability since. Aside from her, Deja Blue, I'm not really that big of a fan of, and she's probably going to take money. I really don't know what to do with the Aki here. That's a good point to mention as well. Like, this is as tumultuous as What a Bid Hanover season has been so far. I mean, he wins in these spots when horses go sour, they take some time off, he gets them freshened up, and he comes back and wins inside of Grade 1 races like this. Are you telling me you're on What a Bid Hanover?
This is great news for me, Mike. Whenever I'm on a horse that Ray just thinks about in the middle, this is great. Like, if Ray hates a horse, the horse is going to go terrible for me, and then he's going to say,
Deja Blue?
And then whenever Ray loves the horses alongside, we got Scott Zeron giving Inside Harness comments called Hopeless. So this is good. It's a horse completely off the Ray Cotolo radar. You want to guess you got like 4 left in the field.
Oh, if it's not in the middle, then I'm not going to get it at all.
All right, Champagne Problems. Post
11. Oh, come on. From the second tier, she was okay. Oh, hold on. I'm giving a caveat to this before Ed even says anything. She did lose to the passing lane, but man, she had nothing to offer in the stretch. Like, she was fighting, but she lost to a horse who really, I don't know that she's that much better than Champagne Problems, but make your case. Make your case.
You was 1-9.
Tonight's the night, right? Everybody knows it. We got 4 hours, 35 minutes to the next Taylor Swift album. Gosh, Nancy has said many times this horse is well named after the Taylor Swift song. And look, this is post 11. You've got a horse, Country Victory, has shown speed. Lenny Hanover has speed. I'm assuming Country Victory would probably be the choice, right? But, like, you have options to follow out of there. Secure yourself a good spot. Get rid of that Dexter Dunn driver guy. We've got Jason Bartlett. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised, actually, that Dexter wasn't listed because, I mean, I suppose he would probably have ended up with the Chechere horse there for post 8. But, I mean, he's also driven plenty for Nancy, right? So I probably had a choice to make. But, again, I think Bartlett and Dexter obviously both very capable drivers on the Grand Circuit. Look, did get beaten last time, but overall, the form has been solid. Don't forget, this horse made $500,000 last year. I think some of her biggest problems is a little mental occasionally. I think she, some of the breaks she has, some of the ways she races, and to be fair, I think that's true with a lot of trotters, right? I mean, but at her best, I think she can beat this field. I think she'd be more than a fair price. And again, we discuss it all the time, right? Would you rather have post 11 or post 10 or post 9, especially when, again, Country Victory's shown plenty of gate speed. Like, you're going to secure an okay spot. You're able to work out some sort of trip. You got a long stretch. It's a Red Mile. Champagne Problems. Top pick on top. And you know what? Second pick, Ray. I love it. I love going against here. What a Bid Hanover is number 2 for me.
I mean, there's more legitimacy.
The qualifier is whatever the qualifier was, right? I mean, how much can you read into a 3-horse qualifier at Harris Filly? Obviously, the lame scratch. Obviously, the 2 breaks in a row. It's really a lot of an unknown. And I guess maybe it's one of those classic things of watch her warm up and see what the tote board tells you. But, like, I mean, there's no question at her best, the talent's there. Again, I think I'm taking 2 horses that, like, at their best could be there. At their worst, they'll be last and second to last. And
you do have to wonder off a lame scratch like that in a situation like this, does Aki pull the shoes? I think that also will tell you a lot about what a Bid Hanover. That's true. There's also an argument of, she's probably going to be a broodmare at some point. Well, let's just see if it works in this situation. But the other thing.
Real quick, I'm sorry, Ray. The 8, I think, there's your long shot, right? I mean, nice race last time and had a couple weeks off, but Dexter ends up here. Certainly likes the racetrack. It's not going to take very much money in here. A lot of these other stories are going to be bet there. You mentioned Miss Belmar. You mentioned Deja Blue. What a Bid Hanover. I think all will be big or shorter on the tote board, then stash some cash. I do think this one can rally late at another big price. This horse never takes any money whatsoever. So I would much rather have that horse than the 11 in here.
Yeah, if you're going for prices, there's more merit to that. And all I was thinking of, I was going to agree with you, Ed, on the mental thing with Champagne Problems, partly for the breaking, but also it's just when you see her to the finish, like she gives what she's got, and she doesn't really fight more than that. She has a nice late kick, and I think that's held her well to get these prominent finishes and stuff like that. But most of the time, whenever it's another horse coming up along, Yo Tilly specifically, off of that second place finish she had to Delaney Hanover, like Yo Tilly isn't even like that much she doesn't have that much late power. She's a solid grinder and she can carry her speed well, but Delaney Hanover, I feel like it's tough to argue that her kick probably isn't a little better than Yo Tilly's. And so since Champagne Problems has been continuously succumbing to her, I feel like if coming from off the pace, that's just too tall of a task. And the other thing I'm just thinking is you're probably ready for the ballet betting a horse like her. What with the 2 on her line, you're going to be well dressed.
I think that's part of it too. I mean, you kind of hinted towards it, but I think occasionally you do get in that spot where, she made so much money last year. She was so good when she started, right? You see that sometimes, right? 2-year-old comes out really strong, and the others kind of catch up per se. And not that she was like a world ahead of everybody, but it is kind of interesting sometimes. And again, I think it all goes back to the mental thing. But sometimes you got horses, the ones you really love are the ones that are going to dig in and really fight, right? And battle the line and, dig in and just knock off a horse that they really have no business beating, it looks like. And so other horses don't. And some case we made that maybe she's kind of like that, right? I mean, when you mentioned, there's a lot of seconds in it, right? But
what trip does she get in here though? Especially from this post. I mean, she's typically
she's fourth over or something like that.
I mean,
second, third over. I think she gets way better than you think, though. I think she's way okay.
No, the outside horses are going to show more speed than you think, and she's going to get lost. Carl, remember in the Futurity, Carl had the second tier, and he could not. I think he was third or fourth over out of the second tier. He couldn't get a spot.
He did end up much further back than I thought it would, so maybe this will be the same situation. You are right.
More likely than not. Let's talk about then the main event. It wraps the day of racing, the fortnight of racing. That's just to get all of the youngins watching the show excited. But I mean in the 2-week sense, not in the Victory Royale sense. Someone will be claiming Victory Royale, though, in the $500,000 grade 1. Kentucky Futurity, 133rd renewal. This race has been run, that means since 1892, when Columbus said that was 400 years before, but it's very close.
I'm willing to bet that's not even correct, Ray. I'm sure there's some missed years in there for wars and other
You
things.
think they're gonna miss? No. This isn't like Newmarket where they have to end the guineas so that way they can land planes on the grass, which is true, by the way. No, there's no Nazis to fight, to my memory, inside of the history of this race. But
I'm Googling this. There's no way you're correct on that.
Okay, the Red Mile was able to host a Hambletonian when another track couldn't. So I think they've been able to get.
Okay, there was no race from 1942 to 1945.
Oh, that's really. I wonder what was happening those years.
But
Maryland has the second tier.
The first race is listed as 1893. So wait, so what is this? The 133rd edition or the 133rd year?
133rd renewal.
That's interesting because at least on Wikipedia, there's no winners listed during the war years. But anyway.
That's your problem. You're believing in Wikipedia and it's too woke. Maryland has the second tier. I alluded to this earlier in the show. He is a maiden for the season. Last year's freshman champion, 0-for-7 so far this year, and he's mired in the same spot that Carl landed in last year. He could not overcome, and Sig Sauer ended up really flaunting over the track, going 149-3 to win in the Kentucky Futurity. And Mike, this is a real stacked edition. Super Chapter coming in off a runner-up finish. He was a little flat off of a stalking trip, but that was outside of his usual ball game. Meshuggah produced well off of a stalking effort. Go Dog Go with the hopples added was really moving like a machine. Emoticon Legacy probably landed the best post to make this an interesting betting contest because he's coming off a Canadian record, 149-4 effort to win the Canadian Trotting Classic. There's never been a situation, Mike, with this race specifically. We've had 2 sub-150 trotters coming into this race. There are a lot of different ways you can go.
There's been a lot of sub-150 races this year on the trotting side, and that's very atypical. I love Super Chapter in this race. I just think that The outside horses here, Emoticon Legacy was phenomenal in the Canadian trotting. I mean, that was a great effort there. 49-4 at Mohawk is just crazy. And this horse was 1-9 in there. But now this is a different ball game here. And I do think that Super Chapter's been here for quite a while and has been leading up to this race. He's only lost a couple races this year. And I like the fact that they've maybe changed his style a little bit. From this post with the others mired in another poor post, I do think that he controls this race. And this is going to be his big win this year. And he's already made almost $1 million so far. So that's a good betting race. I do think that he's maybe second choice. I do think maybe Emoticon, they'll be right together. I think him, the 10, and even Maryland's going to take his money in this spot. Who knows what Go Dog Go will do? I think that he'll find a little bit of money also in the race. But I just think that the way he's drawn, the fact that he's been here, the fact that he's added some off the pace type lines, that Super Chapter is the one to beat, and I do think he wins this race.
And sometimes, Ed, when we see horses approach these bigger contests, you'll see lines in, I don't want to say less important races because every race does matter in a sense, but there are different objectives for certain horses. And you can see after the Hambletonian Super Chapter gets a little less aggressive, they try to get him more methodical in his trips and his journeys. Do you think that maybe there's a bit of appeal then that he's coming in, even though he lost to a horse who did just get a little bit of a better trip? But do you think that in some ways these by design off the pace efforts could actually have him even better for a race like this? Or are you thinking that he's maybe still just level with what he was on Hambletonian Day?
I don't know if there's an argument made that it makes him better, but I think he's very good as he is, and I think he draws perfectly here in this race. And he gets to a big track. He has had some braking issues in the past. We've seen him at Yonkers before. I believe the one break was actually the Red Mile, right, 4 starts ago. But I mean, look, I think he's the one to beat. I think he's very good here, but I think it is a very good field. And it's a pretty deep field for a field of 11. And actually, I don't know if he's really necessarily the one to beat. I guess I shouldn't say that. Emoticon Legacy is interesting, but post 10, of course, is a big detriment here. By the way, I got to finish my side notes, Ray. I know you're very curious in such things. There was a fire that destroyed the grandstand in the 1930s and the 4 years in World War II, but it was held elsewhere. So 133rd edition, but not all of Red Mile. There you go.
Oh, okay.
I do like Go Dog Go.
It wasn't me who burned it down, by the way. I wasn't alive then. I just want that out there too.
I'd be curious though. Somebody should have. Again, you all know I'm in semi-retirement, so maybe somebody has. Maybe you two can answer. But has anybody asked Carpinski? Go Dog Go. Maybe it's just my anecdotal recollection, but it seems like his braking issues have been at the Red Mile a lot. I mean, he's had issues elsewhere, I believe, too, but the Red Mile's caused a lot of them, especially the first couple last year when it was like, a 2-year-old coming along, wow, he could really be a contender, and then he's braking. So I don't know if there's something about the setup, the grandstand, something.
I would argue it's a situation of most bathroom injuries happen in the bathroom type of thing.
Could be the track too. Some horses like it, some don't. I mean, that's the way it is.
Well, and I also should note, since you're getting into this, Ed, John Wiseman, co-owner through Wiseman Farms, he mentioned during the draw today that Carter Pinsky for that race actually put Amigo Volo's Can't See back on Go Dog Go. So they made an equipment adjustment last week along with the Hopples. And I mean, you see just the difference that it made. Amigo Volo also a winner of this race. God, at this point, 5 years ago?
2020. I just saw that as a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
I mean, so look, I mean, I do like Go Dog Go. I think, and I said it, I think I wrote it in a Swedish analysis at the beginning of the year. And they asked me about the top 3-year-olds here in America for trotters, look, the talent's there. It's just a matter of, can he keep his head straight for a day, right? I'm not sure he's quite the same level as Super Chapter in this race, but he definitely can be a consideration underneath. I'd be willing to take a stand against Emoticon Legacy, again, considering the post. And, I've always been high on Maryland. I mean, look, I've always thought Melander has a very good 1-2 punch in the barn there with Super Chapter in Maryland. Again, post 11 questions. Who's he going to get to follow? How's he going to get out of there? But you know what? If you look through the page, you kind of find the same thing as I said with Champagne Problems. You get a post 1 horse in the form of Fashion Green who has shown speed in the past. So depending how far he's going to take you, you could get an okay spot with Maryland as well to potentially mount something here. So, I mean, that's kind of the directions I choose to look. But again, it is one of the races, to be totally honest with you, Ray. I don't know your feelings, but it's kind of like some of those names at the end of the year come back to bite you eventually when you're like, you know what, I was on that horse at some point, and I jumped off, and I was going to win this race at 15, 20, 30 to 1, like on a jet plane, Meshuggah. Like, these are all top 10 Hambo horses at some point or another in the last year, right? Like, in everybody's mind. So, Again, there's not even variegated interest. Gap Chronos. I mean, there's a lot of horses here that if they win, I'm not really gonna be that shocked if anybody wins this race, more or less.
I mean, when you look back just at how the other sophomore trotting races work on the Grand Circuit schedule, the Kentucky Futurity every year, no races, like even the Hambletonian is a little different there, because I mean, you guys remember how it went last year, right? 6 hour, I think he was 4th or 5th, and they trotted like 54 to the half, either 121 or something.
Oh, they went faster than that. It went crazy early, remember?
Oh, yeah, it was 52 because of Highland Kismet. And
Yeah.
the winner came out of 5th. Like, and so that's a situation where if you're drawing it up on paper and you think the tempo is going to be that hot, you're thinking, well, maybe a horse is going to come from 9th or 10th to win this race. And that didn't happen. James McDonald came a little close. I forget what Svenstedt horse he was driving that year to get second. The horse was closing late, but was never getting to 6 hour. But the point being is that this year's edition, again, there's going to be a hot pace. We haven't even mentioned Fashion Green to the inside with the pylon post. His option is only to go forward. I feel like Dexter's probably going to go forward. And Mike, I mean, we've seen Louis get more and more aggressive with the Moticon Legacy. I even remember at the start of the year, he didn't want to be on the lead. And then I think something just clicked with that Good Times win, and however they re-rigged him to get over the drifting and the stretch issues. Like this, again, sets up to be a situation where we could have a really fast tempo, but I don't really know that we're going to see a deep closer really have a chance.
Well, Wall's been driving a Moticon like he's the best horse. That's the thing. Well, he's going to probably do the same thing here. He's going to be aggressive again. This could set up like last year. I don't know about 52 again, but what does Go Dog Go do early? He likes to be forward, especially from an outside post. Gap Chrono's another horse that has shown speed in the past. So there's other horses that have shown speed. Super Chapter, before these recent tactics, has wanted to be up close. So I do think that it could get crowded up front there. And then, does Dexter make an early move with Maryland? Maybe. It could be another hot pace. So I'd be looking for someone from off of it, perhaps, in the race. I think Auto Jet Plane is interesting for me from off the pace, especially if they pull the shoes on him. He certainly has plenty of talent. He has a big kick. He has a nice prep leading into this, coming off of a 26-2 kick. There's lots to like about him, especially at a price. He's going to be a mid-price. I think probably 14, 15, maybe in that range. He would be the long shot I would want on tickets. Super Chapter, I think, can win with any trip, but it could, like you mentioned, it could get hot in here, especially where some of these horses are drawn.
And I should also
mention an important side note, by the way. I'm just realizing, looking back to past winners of this race, my Hambletonian pick that has lost has gone on to win the Kentucky Futurity like 4 out of the last 6 years. We're talking Green Shoes, Amigo Volos, Rebuff, famously at 3-5, coming back at like 8-1 in this race.
Edison trying to sound like he's a wonk when he's just picking the Hambo favorite every single year.
But this year, it was Super Chapter, so I won Super Chapter this time. This is the first time I'm picking my Hambletonian horse again in the Futurity. It was even worse.
Well, and he was good in the Hambo.
Favorite, though. He wasn't the favorite.
He was 3-1 inside of that race, but he was good in the Hambo.
Second, right? He beat Maryland in that race, though. Yeah.
Yeah, he was second to Nordic Catcher, and part of the appeal of him to me inside of this race is I do think. I'm assuming Dexter is going to be driving. That's why I put the graphic up in the first place. You see that Dexter's double listed. At the point we're recording this, he hasn't made his choice yet. That's going to come out at scratch time on Friday. We're recording this Thursday night, and he's going to have to choose between Maryland or Super Chapter. Last time he chose Maryland. Part of me wonders if this time around he's going to go Super Chapter and Maryland is going to see a new pilot. Just because, again, with this draw, with the Moticon Legacy speed to the outside, I see him getting a similar trip to the Hambo. And I feel like over a track like Lexington, even with fast fractions, he's probably going to be well set up. But that's not
the same situation as the Hambletonian, too, with no Yannick listed anywhere else. I'm assuming he'll pick up the remaining horse, presumably.
Yeah. There are probably there's some people on standby, but the part that really makes this most difficult to assess is what Mike mentioned: Go Dog Go. In the Hambo, he had post 10, and Todd McCarthy did the Hail Mary, so to speak, of just launch him forward, and he tired. But it seems like off of the equipment adjustments and off of that last win, I mean, does he try a similar tactic and maybe carry his speed better? That's where I see appeal in a horse like On a Jet Plane, because I think he is going to be a good price. Do you even have a good guess, Mike, of who's the favorite in this race? Because I can't figure it out.
I do think Emoticon's probably the favorite. That's just where I think the money will fall. Just coming off of that 49-4, and he's hot right now. But it's going to be close. I think it'll be real close between Super Chapter and Emoticon Legacy as to who's the favorite, and then Maryland will be a third choice.
You don't think Go Dog? I feel like Go Dog Go takes a lot of money off of that mile.
He's not the favorite. I disagree, though. Emoticon Legacy would be the favorite if you switch posts or something like that. But because post 4, I think Super Chapter is the favorite. Assuming Dexter goes there, kind of like with the Hambo. If Dexter takes Maryland, then things get pretty interesting, because all of a sudden we're playing the mind games of, oh, what does that mean? But assuming Dexter takes Super Chapter, I think that's the favorite. Emoticon Legacy is second. Go Dog Go, I think, is potentially third and shorter than Maryland. I mean, come on, you two are going to bash me for a second-tier pick on the last race. Then you're going to tell me now the second tier is great and you're going to make it the favorite?
No, I don't think it's great. I just think that's a horse that takes a lot of money. I mean, he's a favorite in a Hambo. Hey, I haven't won a race all year. I mean, this horse gets bet every time. So,
and I feel like the only way to elevate him is on the presumption he's going to step up over the red clay, because even that Canadian Trotting Classic race, he was not making any inroads on Emoticon Legacy. He was very clearly racing for second. I don't know that he really has a late kick, especially again since we're in 150 under 150 territory now. I think in a similar fashion the division is caught up with Maryland at this point in time. I guess final thoughts either on this race or just on the day as a whole, starting with you, Edison. It's the last of the 6 days for the Grand Circuit meet. And then, of course, we've got Breeders' Crown right around the corner. Any other horses you're particularly excited to watch or bet on that card?
Absolutely, Ray. I've been reading this book here. It's called The Black Book for Harrisburg.
Oh, wow.
And I've got this horse that I'm looking to buy. I'm going to reveal it to everybody right now on this show.
He's going to reveal the Unicorn Blue Chip Sister out of Dunk the Donato.
Thank you, Ray. You're already saying all the words. Like, I mean, this is the one. Bentley Blue Chip. This is better than Unicorn Blue Chip. It's the same mare. This is the one this year.
I mean, to be fair, your logic is incredibly sound, just given how in this business you just go with families you are familiar with for the most part.
This one's a Walner this year. The other one was a Chapter 7. This is a Walner.
Oh, well, Walner, wait until you find out who his dad is. Mike, what about you for this final day of the Grand Circuit meet at the Red Mile?
I mean, it's a great card. I would show up early. There's plenty of betting opportunities all day long. We sort of glossed over that other, the division there. For the 3-year-old Pacers, race number 6, you have Madden Oaks in there, Captain Optimistic. That's a pretty nice race that I definitely want to see. A long shot for me on Sunday, race number 7, the one hunting the last dollar, was much, much better last time. Against Urban Hanover, up in a free-for-all at Mohawk, gets back here. Is when he can show his speed, he is very dangerous. He's going to be a price. Again, you have Captain Albano in there. You have Ken Hanover, horses that might like the smaller track just a little bit more. I think he's very interesting, and he's going to be a price. So there's a couple horses there to look at there for Sunday.
I want to say I had hunting the last dollar.
I guess that doesn't do it.
I never actually said anything about the racing at the Red Mile, so I did have hunting the last dollar underneath of Captain Albano as well. I like that pick as well for Mike as a potential upset pick. I think really second in the exact. I think Captain Albano is going to be tough to beat. And beyond that, hang on, Ray. I'll come up with at least one more price play for you.
All right.
Let's go with
10 seconds. 9. 8.
What do I like?
7.
Honestly, a perfect Danny might be an okay price in the Kentucky Filly eligibles. If not, let's take Quimby Joe Fresh in the third race. That's a price play. Big circle.
I was texting Oak Grove announcer Pete Kleinans about that race. He said that there could be a Jim Dandy situation there with Yankee B something in that Alaraj Filly Murphy. That would be fun. She held her own quite well when she was in that race last year. And I'm just happy for those connections. Doug Davis from Mississippi, Jimmy Watson, I believe a Mississippi trainer. This is a filly that they've had from the start. It's made almost over $250,000. I mean, these are the situations where we're trying to handicap a race. Then Michael just out of nowhere go, I wish I owned that one.
I mean, look, you're going to pick up, what is the split for 3? I think it's 60.
64, you pick up 12% if you get third. Like that pays some bills.
No, I think it's more than that, right? Because there's 3 horses. There's a separate distribution for the.
Oh, do they? Is that actually the case? I thought that the track just withheld the remainder.
I think it's 55, 35, 20. I think that's correct.
Oh.
So I think it's 20. So, I mean, you're looking at a good percentage of money for just
Well,
starting track. And if we're going to go by thoroughbred standards, you can claim black type afterwards, right? I think this is a graded race, and you're going to be top 3.
Yeah, I think it is a grade 3, technically. But that does it for this. That does it for this edition of the Harness Players podcast. I believe our next show is going to be Breeders' Crown, because the week after Red Mile is usually quiet. If not, we might have other stuff going on. Mike, we have Century Mile, of course, in the rotation as well. There's really never a week off here.
Oh, by the way, if we're doing this on behalf of the USDA and the good folks in Lexington with the Red Mile, speaking of Breeders' Crown, there's really good news for the Red Mile. Big news.
Oh, yeah. So next year it's at Scioto, and then the year after that, the Breeders' Crown will come to the Red Mile. And what's a massive surprise, no one really knew that was going to be coming. It just, the bill that passed that allowed them to get a $6 million stipend for a race night of some kind was purely just a coincidence. For
weather, though, right? Like, we will see what the end of October weather's like. That it was pretty chilly last year, if I remember correctly, on the Sunday night when I left that place. I mean, on October 4th. Like,
well, I think that raises a good question.
But Mohawk too can be,
It's traditionally been a nighttime card. Could it be a daytime card?
Meadowlands went daytime in 21 because of the whole thoroughbred thing, and I don't think anybody really complained, right? I mean, their championship.
I was there. It was great.
Conditions, off we go. I think. Yeah. I'll tell you what the key was though that year, and hopefully this is true in the future. It was a really quiet thoroughbred weekend, so it kind of mixed well in the market. I believe New York was off, if I remember correct. No, maybe New York wasn't, but like there was no big stakes. I remember. I think Keeneland wrapped up right to get past Keeneland. Like it ended up being a good spot.
Yeah, it's a week before the Breeders' Cup usually, so that's it's really quiet thoroughbred week because everyone's going looking Breeders' Cup. So
is that a Keeneland? Wait, is that a Keeneland Breeders' Cup here too? No, it's Belmont year, right? Next year's Keeneland, yeah.
Oh, is it at Belmont in 27? Yeah, because that just came out this year.
Honestly, and I guess they could do whatever, right? Because it's 2 years out, the schedule could be changed. If I were them, I actually would consider if I was in charge, maybe this is a stupid idea, but I would actually move it up a week, and I would get it during Keeneland and go nighttime. I mean, I know they're not quite the same as like Saratoga. People kind of going cross town or whatever, but people are in town to watch big Keeneland races. Why not slip over to the end of year championship harness races at the end of the year?
I love it.
The powers that be definitely watch these shows. We know.
I'll play it today. Caller, get her on the phone.
I'll take the credit.
Get her on the phone.
2 years is much longer than 2 years from now, but we'll get there when that comes. I hope so. I hope to be there. I hope you get to be there too with us on the Harness Players podcast, because that means we get 2 more seasons of this. You never know in show business. It could always just come crumbling down at the last minute. We hope that's not the case here. Thanks to you, the viewers, for watching here on the In the Money Media Network. If you're listening on the podcast, you can catch any other In the Media production wherever you get your podcasts. Lots of stuff for the thoroughbreds. If you're on the YouTube channel, be sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to get to $15,000 so that way PTF gets me a Christmas card. Yeah, that's right. That's the only way I'm going to be brought into the ITM family, is if we get to 15,000 subscribers. I want to see what PTF's lovely family looks like, and I want to feel the love that they have for one another in a vicarious way that I don't have for myself. Help me get there with 15,000 subscribers. Otherwise, Breeders' Crown's right around the corner. Breeders' Cup right after that for the flat fans. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.